Decision, decision, decision. Should you buy the a7r4? Let's talk about it. Okay, the Sony a7r4 has just been announced, and there's a lot of buzz around it. That is the latest, greatest camera ever. Well, that's also happening previously about the a7r3 as well, and that buzz went down, and now you have the a7r4. I'm still waiting for the a7S3, and it's not coming out yet. So I'll tell you a bit about my background so you know why I'm not going to purchase the a7r4. It's my own personal opinion, but hopefully when you go through this whole video, you'll make your own decision. I'm pretty sure most of you already decide whether you should purchase it or not, but for me, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to talk about it right now. So if you're going from, and for myself, you're going from the a7r3 to the a7r4, there's not really a convincing reason why you should get a7r4, especially this camera. I purchased it about almost like a year ago. So usually for me, when I buy cameras, I don't buy it right away. I wait till it's on sale, or when it's there's an open box or a refurbished model, and then I'll buy it, and I'll save myself almost close to $1,000. That's a big saving. And so when I'm buying a camera, I also make sure that all the bugs has been fixed, all the latest firmware, major ones anyway, has been updated, and then I'm happy with it. Because remember, the camera is not just for decoration and to show people off. You actually have to make arts out of it, okay? And that's important to me. It's just a tool, things that you can use to take a good photo. And in fact, I had this for almost a year, and I find that this camera, it's I use it not as often as I should, and I find that I'm still working with the menu. I still not very basically I haven't mastered it yet. And I have the a5000. I find that I can use that camera a little bit better, right? And the quality coming out of that, maybe this is a little bit better, but really not too much. So that's the thing. It's how you use the camera. So the a7r3, I know it's going to be an awesome technology, and as I get to know more and more about it, the quality of my photos and video will get better as long as my skills improve. And that's the thing, right? So let's talk about going from a7r3 to a7r4. Well, if you're going from there, there's a difference of $1,000. So if you're purchasing the a7r3, is around $2,500 US. You're purchasing the a7r4, which is not out yet, but maybe another 6 months, and hopefully there's no a backlog on that. You're able to get it, but it's going to cost you $1,000 more. What's that $1,000 more will add to your benefit? Well, you get a better megapixel from 42 to 61. You got a better autofocus, a little bit more, and also the eye focus in the photo, and I heard in the video, is amazing. Okay, so those are maybe the decision you make, and also the way it's designed as well, a little bit bigger. Again, that's not important to me. And the EVF is a higher resolution. So like those minor improvement. So that's why I'm thinking, $1,000. No. And if you are going to buy the a7r4, you might have to sell this thing, and the a7r3 is dropping down in price, especially you talk about used, for almost $1,500. So you may not be able to sell it off for less, more than $2,000 if you're lucky, US, right? So that's a problem. Like you're trying to sell it off so you can get the newest, greatest technology. You are losing a bit of money. Unless, of course, you fully utilize your old camera, and then when you upgrade, then you don't feel as bad. Now, if you're moving from the a7R, the first generation, and the a7R2, and upgrading to an a7R4 is a no-brainer. Because the a7R3, when I purchased it, I saw the upgrade, better battery system, better EVF, better autofocus, better in every way, like 10 frames per second, 42 megapixel, with better dynamics, all those kind of things, right? Going from the A7R2 to A7R3 makes sense, but going from A7R3 to 7R4, not really. Okay, so if you're going from the second generation A7R camera to the latest A7R4, then I can see why it makes sense to upgrade. But you have to come up with about $5,000 Canadian or 3,500 US dollars, because your A7R and A7R2 would not be worth more than $1,200 US. I think, for A7R, for example, the aftermarket price is probably less than $800 US, and for the A7R2 is less than $1,300 or less. You can check Kijiji and Craigslist on eBay, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So if you're willing to sacrifice that, pretty much throw it away, get a little bit of money to buy some lens, so you can upgrade to a $3,500 US camera, or in Canadian value $5,000. Then yeah, go ahead. Another thing that you need to be aware of course, the lens. If you don't have a G Master lens, then it's really no point. Unless, of course, there's one lens I know that you can put on your A7R3 and A7R4, and you can be proud of. That is the 55 mils f 1.8. Okay, that can resolve. I think if you check the DxO, that you can resolve that for over 40 megapixel. So the G Master can do that. Like, is a better lens. It can resolve better. So when you consider getting these type of camera, you always have to consider the lens. So if you're getting like, a 61 megapixel, can your lens resolve that much megapixel? Think about that. A lot of people are so hyped up about the body, they don't think about the lens. And if you're going for the best of the best, well, you have to go for the G Master Sony lens, or their Zeiss lens. And that will cost you, well, if you add everything up, over $10,000 for sure, easily. And of course, the battery, if you're moving from the A7R2 to the A7R4, wow, you're gonna need to add a couple more batteries. And even their hot shoe for the audio is now changed, right? It's digital now for the A7R4. So if you're gonna go for audio, the best of the best, add more money to it, and the grip, and so on and so on. So you're basically moving from a new system, from the A7R1, R2 to A7R4, because standard lens doesn't cut it. Because if you're going to go from a 36 or 42 megapixel second generation to 61 megapixel, you got to get a lens that can handle that as well. Okay, that's something you need to consider. Because it's 61 megapixel, you also need to upgrade your computer system. If you have an older computer system, then you definitely need a faster hard drive, a bigger hard drive, a bigger, better processor, CPU, right? And bigger, faster graphic cards. So all these are an upgrade that you have to consider, right? Even when I upgrade to my A7R3, for example, I did upgrade my computer, and my computer system can handle the A7R4. But would I want to buy it? No, because I'm waiting for the A7S3, or maybe they'll call it the A7S4, because they skipped a generation of that A7S3. They might call it A7R S4. The reason for that is I'm also into short films and documentary films, and so for me, having a camera that can video in good quality, like 4K 60p or 120p, very good in low light, right? The Sony a7S is known for that. A lot of people talk about that. And 10-bit internal recording, 422, those kind of specs is very important. And so I'm not gonna buy the A7R4 because I'm waiting for the A7S3 or S4, because for me, having the A7R3 is already an amazing camera. Getting an upgrade for my video would be A7S3. So that will be two camera, that will supplement each other. Having the A7R4 makes really no difference for the video, because the video quality on the A7R4 and the A7R3 is about the same. Now I do hear about a rumor that the a7r4 may have the external 10-bit video recording, but again, that's a rumor. I'm gonna wait until somebody actually tests that out on the video recording on the Sony a7r4. Then I'll get back to you on that. But other than that, yeah, for me, if you're gonna upgrade from a7r3 and to a7r4, it doesn't make sense. But if you're going from the a7r all the way to a7r4, then yes, I see why you might want to do that. But be aware of the cost. It's like a new system, right? It's not like going from your old system to another system. It's actually a whole new system because you have a new battery system, new audio system, and now you have to get a better lens. So think about that, and hopefully that's helpful. Thanks for watching EducateTube.com.